Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Disco Elysium. It's me, it's Raine, here with my good friend TJ,
Hello, hello.
on this YouTube channel that came to me in a dream after I was struck by lightning trying to do that thing that I heard Ben Franklin did with the key and the kite in a book I read when I was 4 years old. Last time, we walked back and forth in this building like 17 times trying to get people to actually tell us the truth,
For an
and
hour.
we are still working on that.
That video
Please
is
make up.
almost an hour.
Oops.
But we
No.
are awake, sire. She has been forthcoming with sordid details women usually conceal. Most shocking details of the sexual kind. We are a bulwark, unbreached. If you have doubts, just give us one example of deceit. Just one, and we will gladly change our minds.
Just a proposition. Could the lurid explicitness conceal something less sensational but more illegal?
Who is this personhood picking these seditious options? Can't you see the detective grows weary of your malcontent? Stop staring at her eyes and say something pertinent to the case. This is making you look like an amateur. It looks like this one's not waking up. You'll have to do it without pushing her further. At least for now.
Could put a point into drama.
Just go
I
for
think
it.
I will. 2 points.
I was just thinking.
That
What
is
a nice
way
day
higher.
for questions
Yeah.
pertaining to a murder investigation.
All right, 42%. Let's do it.
We are
Damn
still
it.
wide awake and staring into an gosh, she's so... Be careful. It looks like this
You
one's
could do
not
it
waking
again.
up. You'll have to do it without pushing her further.
You do it again.
You're actually 2 points away from another point. 2 experience points,
Yeah.
I mean. So yeah, just go for it. 58%.
Oh, wait, it's still locked because I was in the text box during it.
Yeah.
I was just thinking.
Let's do it.
What a nice day.
Okay.
What?
I would have been so upset.
Dear God, you've been lied to. She could have killed her lover and lied to everyone. She's not candid at all. She's smoke and mirrors and willow-wisps.
Thank you, drama, for keeping up.
She probably didn't give you her real name either. Why would she? Arrest her immediately before she further entangles you in her web of lies.
We're fairly certain that she made the call.
Your real name isn't Claudia Amanda.
I agree. You wouldn't give us your real name, not when people are after you.
Okay.
Okay, what?
Okay, it's not.
Good. You can tell me the truth.
You log your work every week. It's all transmitted to Common, sir. I couldn't just beg you not to enter my name. So I lied. Like I lied before. Like I did at LCSB. I have to lie all the time. I'm so tired of it.
Tell me your real name.
It's Katarzyna Alazie.
It's a Grad name, Jimsk or Yugo-Grad in origin, not Occidental at all. Smells of motor oil, tiger, economic desolation, and rock music-infused alcoholism.
That's not even an Ornese name, is it? It's not even Mundi. It's Grad.
My parents were Zemsk immigrants, but I'm nationalized Oranese. All I remember is Oranje. Alazie is my father's name.
Finally, we meet. I didn't listen to her actually pronounce it. Whoops.
She
Katrozine?
nods. Her round eyes
Petrozine?
meet yours. They seem moist from the wind on the roof.
No.
She nods, her back straight, ready for whatever is next.
You know, I think you didn't make the call to that station.
I did. What is this? I called your desk, whatever it is. The numbers are all over town. Call 8-100-2 for emergencies. There was an older woman on the other end. It sounded like she was smoking. She took my complaint. She coughed.
That is the emergencies desk number. Anyone could know that, sire, by looking around and calling the desk. I don't believe a single word she says.
What time did you make the call?
Thursday night. It was late, sometime after 12.
It checks out.
She stands before you, holding her back very straight.
What if I told you you're under arrest?
But I haven't done anything illegal.
She purposefully misrepresented information crucial to the case. That's right, gang. Stern and merciless now. Stern and merciless as we reel her in.
You're a suspect in a murder investigation. You're a flight risk. That's all the reason I need.
The lieutenant produces a pair of handcuffs.
Please, no.
Her eyes become round with fear. She tries to back further off.
But there's nowhere to go. A 2-story drop to the Plaza Mosaic. If she could, she would have run before.
I think I know who did it. I know who shot Leslie. You know it wasn't me. Why would I do it? I have no motive.
She knows something.
What do you know? Who shot him?
She's silent for a second, if looking into herself for certainty. Then, in a hushed voice, she says,
Ruby.
Why do you think it was her?
She has this thing for me. Ever since I met her and the boys downstairs. She's been pretty frank about what she wants.
And what is that?
Sex. And more. I made the mistake of confiding in her. I told her I was on the run. She started protecting me. It became an unhealthy relationship. When I started spending time with Lely, she told me to end it. Said there would be shit if I didn't. It was not a good meeting. We stopped talking after that, but...
I don't understand. What exactly in your relationship made you think she is romantically interested in you?
She said she's in love with me. She even asked me to run away with her when I told her I'm a fugitive. She started developing notions about our relationship.
And you led her on?
A little. I was flattered, you know? But then I had to let her off, and it was not easy. I came to regret being friendly with her. We maybe kissed, nothing more.
Sounds like she was fixated on you.
This is just an assumption.
I know what it sounds like. That's why I didn't want to tell you before. But she knew what had happened when I came downstairs. Somehow, she knew Lely was dead. She wasn't surprised at all. When we came up here, she was calm as a stone, too. She cleaned it all up like she had a plan.
This is a familiar theory. You had it too, remember? Could it be that Ruby was covering up after herself? The lynching?
Ruby said there would be shit happening if you didn't end your relationship with the deceased. Was she threatening you?
She came over one night, drunk, said she'd turn my life into a living hell. I've been threatened before, so I can tell when someone knows how to do it. And she's a pro. She must be. To keep the Hardys in line. I tried severing ties with her after that. I thought it had worked, but...
And how could she have killed him?
You've been through there, right? I saw you come out. It leads downstairs. She could have come to the roof through that, then made the shot right here, where I stand. It was dark outside. I wouldn't have seen her.
Then slipped back downstairs without anyone noticing? That is possible.
Interesting theory. Did she know that door exists? Had you been out there with her?
Yes, of course. She's been up here many times, jacking private stations off the ring antenna. She used to come here to drink on the roof with me, before it got weird.
Right. And that's it for Ruby.
Okay, and what? Arrest the liar now. She's stuck here. She's already in prison. Look around. She's only trying to help you.
Who?
Her. Stop letting her distract you.
This is definitely a choice to make.
It is.
Hmm. I'm not going to.
All right.
Okay. I'll keep you here, miss, for now.
Thank you. Thank you. You won't regret it.
Something tells you, you will.
Let's change the subject for the time being.
She slowly lights another cigarette and steadies her breath, as if in the presence of some tiger.
Let's just take me back to that section.
Lies.
Yes, we demand she be punished for deceiving us. We demand her. She slowly
Alright. And then this is Guillaume de Le Mignon.
Guillaume Le Million. Bad news. Guillaume Le Million did not become a cop. In 1938, he went on a tour to the Sinyao province in Safre, where he died of autoerotic asphyxiation. His body was found hanging from a decorative dragon tree in his junior suite, amid drug paraphernalia, unwholesome objects, and the Sylvia Trainer single, Wonderland, skipping in the background. And yes, you can take this as a metaphor for Revachol in the 30s, and also as a warning.
That's one pain threshold. Blood oxygen is boring.
And all your psyche caps are buffed. Which is good. Because now they could go up to 3.
I guess that is true, yeah. Alright.
I was just thinking, what a nice evening it is for taking...
Alright. Well?
Now you can go to the mirror, you can investigate that window.
I think for sure what's happening is that Kim's about to go to bed when we get downstairs.
Yes. I would investigate that window first, before you go anywhere.
Alright.
And then you could go talk to Joyce.
Scene on the inside, unlike the one next to it. Light from the desk lamp reflects off the glass in an untarnished golden halo.
What happened here?
The golden light melts away into the blue, glassy darkness of your mind. In it are 2 neon-lit shapes, a man and a woman on the single bed.
What position are they in?
Like the witness said, the man is kneeling, the woman is on her back. It's the night of March 4th and a shot has just been fired. The man looks directly at the woman. The shot's possible directions converge in his mouth, a ray cast from somewhere outside, entering his brain.
Where does it come from?
From the roof outside, location A. The glass fractures around the bullet hole, shards face inwards like a corona behind the woman's back.
Let's look at the figure.
The man does not know the bullet has entered his brain. He never will. Death comes faster than the realization.
Let's look at point A.
The ray cast from the man's mouth unravels into a fan of possible directions, all on the roof at first. The shot could have come from any of them. This is composite location A prime, most likely of the origin points.
Shouldn't there be gun residue outside? Also, like, we were talking about it, like, being quieter.
Yeah.
There could have been. Then the rain and slush and wind washed it away. This was more than a week ago.
So I'm, what, 80% sure the roof is where the shot was from?
72%, with an antique weapon that fires military-grade ammunition. A Belmagrave rifle, for example. This is a good short distance, but not too short. The perpetrator aimed with their back against the railing, or possibly kneeling for precision. This would explain why it only took them 1 shot. The lights were on in here. Outside it was dark. It was like shooting fish in an aquarium. A well-lit aquarium. The victim opened his mouth to let the bullet in. Neither of them would have seen anything outside, in the darkness. Too busy with their own bodies.
Their arguments against a crime?
None that you've found thus far, but that doesn't mean there aren't any.
Could it have come from inside the room?
Point X would contradict the woman's testimony, rendering the entire proposition void. These figures would be wiped out, Detective.
Could there have been another point of origin further away?
That's a 28%, yes. In this model, the shot could have come from a greater distance. Nothing excludes the possibility. Should we extrapolate to include every possible point of origin in Martinez?
Yes.
You would need a map for that. A map of Martinez.
It all comes full circle. Hey, where do I get a map of Martinez?
The bookstore. They have maps. You're thinking, what if the shot didn't come from the roof, right?
Yeah.
Good. We should come back with the map and compare the landscape to the radius of the shot.
Okay, get a map and come back.
Mm-hmm.
That'll happen tomorrow.
Because it is.
Midnight.
Yeah. Late.
It is 3.
You could just go to Kim's door and he'll go to bed, I think, if you want to go ahead and send him off.
I'm just trying to close this door.
Yes?
Hmm.
I guess he's still following me.
I suppose so.
I get him to like, what if I walk back up the stairs?
So I can only assume the Hardys have gone by now. It's midnight.
My door.
Interact your door. There we go. See you in the morning.
Yes?
Yep, he's gone. It's just you. So now you have things you can do. You can look at the mirror, and you can't go to the bookstore, but you
do
can.
That at the end. I'm gonna go to Joyce.
Yeah. Guard's still up. The Hardys are gone.
Classic Gart. Alright. Actually, no, Joyce is up this way.
Yeah.
There we go. There is no way this place is open. Yeah. Hold on. Whabam! 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 There we go.
Man from Heimdall.
Now that I'm not talking to a bunch of people.
Yeah. Check the wall.
I don't think I can.
Just an ordinary wall.
Yeah. I need to up my conceptualization.
Yeah.
She's still there.
Yep, Cindy just hangs out.
Oh, we never talked to the guy.
That's true, you were a bit busy.
Oops.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with at this late hour?
Answer me a question.
Of course. That's what I'm here for.
Reality
More
questions?
lessons in basic reality? My favorite part of the day. Go ahead, ask me anything.
The pail.
Hello. What is pale?
Are you sure you're sure? Your colleague seemed adamant.
Yes. What is the pale?
Okay. The pale is the most dominant geological feature of the world, Detective. The separative tissue between the islas. It is the inter-islary mass.
Okay.
They can ask what an isla is.
Achromatic, odorless, featureless. The Pale is the enemy of matter and life. It is not like any other, or anything in the world. It is the transition state of being into nothingness.
The negation of being.
The negation of...
That's right. The negation of being.
Is it here?
No, Detective. We're safe. It begins there, 6,000 kilometers to the north, and even more to the south, east, and west. You are in the middle of the Isla.
And there?
An uproar of matter, darling. Rising into the Pale. Rolling. Evaporating even. A great vision. The area of transition between the world and the Pale is called Porch Collapse. Imagine a grey coronal mist, cold vapor marked by spores of an opportunistic microorganism. A mold that's adapted to grow at the edge of the unrest. It's the most disco thing you will ever see.
If we're surrounded by Pale, how do you get from Isola to Isola?
Oh, it is so difficult for us.
A squall of birds. Hardware operating in the harbor. Firm. Self-evident.
It is possible to force dimensions on the Pale. In modern times, we can even compress its latitude, bouncing radio waves from one end to the other, shortening the path. But it is still hard for humans to navigate the Pale without getting lost, or having our minds damaged.
The Pale can damage the mind?
Extensively.
How?
Some say the damage stems from extreme sensory deprivation. Others argue that Pale somehow consists of past information that's degrading, that it's rarefied past, not rarefied matter. They call it the blend over of the self. The Pale does not only suspend the laws of physics, but also the laws of psychology, maybe history even. The human mind becomes over-radiated by past.
Yeah. What does this over-radiation feel like?
It feels terrible. Absolutely terrible. International standards strictly limit civilian travelers to 6 days of Pale exposure per year.
It's more for her. Way more.
You're not a civilian passenger?
No, nameless detective of the Citizens Militia. I am a member of the Entropanetic Business Class. I'm cleared and trained for 22 days of Pale transit annually.
Someone else you've met may have been exposed as well. The strange grey-haired woman in her lorry.
Do lorry drivers pass the Pale?
Yes, carried in the hulls of airships. It's a horrific job. Automation will abolish it soon.
You should ask the Pale driver about this. See what she says.
Are you over-radiated?
Up to my gills, officer.
What is entropanetic?
Entropanetics is the scientific study of the Pale, or a recent iteration of it by way of grad. The study of the Pale reaches back 6,000 years. The Pericarnassians called it the Western Plain.
Did they cross it? The Western Plain?
There are signs of pre-modern crossings. Successful navigation of the Pale relies not just on technical know-how, but intensive psychological preparation. Some of these tactics have been known for thousands of years.
What has entropanetics changed then?
Nothing. We remain powerless before the Pale. The only real advance in Pale transit is the speed with which an aerostatic craft can pierce it. Less exposure leads to less effects later.
This is, like, not something I was expecting at all out of this game.
I have been waiting for you to ask what the Pale is for so long.
Yeah, so
Because,
apparently...
like, it fucks with your brain. Like,
yeah, apparently the Pale is just
nothing.
a giant, empty, like, mist of nothing that breaks down your brain.
Like,
That
and then
people
that's the
just have to
thing.
cross through.
It's not like space. It's not space, because space is something. The Pale is nothing. Literal
Oh, shit.
non-existence.
Jesus.
Because, like,
My aerostatic craft?
yeah, it's...
Hybrid airships, Detective. Conventional rotors or jet engines no longer add velocity after the point of reference for motion is suspended, once you've crossed from near pale to far pale. In essence, we throw them in and they come out the other end. If we throw them precisely.
If we do not?
Then they don't.
Gone, like a skipping stone beneath the surface.
How much pale is there compared to the world?
The pale outweighs reality 2 to 1. There is more pale than there is matter. And the ratio is slipping.
Slipping how? To our detriment, or?
What do you think, Detective?
It's growing. There's more and more of the pale.
Precisely. One of the few measurable effects of the pale is that it is expanding at an unknown rate.
You're saying it's measurable, you can't really say it's unknown.
An intuitive conclusion of that development is that one day the pale will cover everything. But this sort of talk is mostly left to extremists.
Not extreme at all. It's gonna happen.
Most people, and indeed most private and government sector organizations, entire civilizations and religions even, find handy ways to ignore or downplay that knowledge. I suggest you do the same.
What are its physical qualities?
It's difficult to describe, or even measure. Something whose fundamental property is the suspension of properties. Physical, epistemological, linguistic. The further into pale you travel, the steeper the degree of suspension, right down to the mathematical. Numbers stop working. No one has yet passed the number barrier. It may be impossible.
Weird.
Yes, sweet reality. But before we do, tell me, Detective, is this the first time you're hearing this? Do you really not remember anything?
I'm getting a sense of who I am, but no, I didn't know this.
Beyond curious. Tell me, what do you think of the Pale?
I'm very curious to know myself.
You were right. It's Disco.
Mm-hmm.
Her eyes tense. Crow's feet radiate from them. She observes you, your bloodshot eyes and swollen face.
You really didn't know. This does not spell good for the investigation, Detective. If you don't know even this, then...
I'll handle it. It's under control.
I hope so. I truly do. If I may suggest, hold on to your colleague, Kitsuragi. I ran a check on him and he is very competent. In the meanwhile, you have me. I will assist you in any way I can, even if we have to do it one basic term at a time.
Alright, I think that was the whole task, right?
Well, that was the Pale. There's still get a reality lowdown.
There is, yeah. Okay.
But you don't have to do it
What's
now.
my-
These
What do?
are unimportant times, Detective. You and I were born after the dust had settled. 1,000th of a second too late.
Okay. What are you?
What I am not is a basic term of reality.
What is this?
A bird? A sphenicid? A flightless bird of the polar regions?
Am I really that awkward?
Of course you're not, my dear. I'm just terrible at guessing games.
I meant, what is this place here?
Ah. This is the pier of Rue de Saint-Ghislaine, 33A, where the tenants have been kind enough to rent me a slot. or two.
What is Rue de Saint Ghislaine 33A?
A pre-revolutionary tenement. Old buildings are called tenements, you see. And new buildings, bâtiments. After les bâtiments nouveaux. But 33A and 33B are not nouveaux. They're old. This one used to be 8 to 10 stories tall. A real high-rise by the standards of the last century. Built to mirror the skyscrapers across the bay in the Delta. That was before the war, of course.
Who lived in them?
Mostly the urban middle class, I believe. This was once primo real estate, before the cannons lopped 4 or 5 stories off. Splat, splat.
You could be wrong, but from here it appears as if she's running the brush across her throat in a soaring motion.
Wonderful.
What is that?
The girl in the old lady rags.
Yeah.
Looks like a sullen and rebellious member of a teen infraculture.
Infraculture?
Yes, you and I belong to the supraculture. We're common, the herd. The music on the radio, the food in the chain restaurant, those are all too popular for the girl in the old lady rags. She prefers a fantasy world, an infraculture with its own dress code and vernacular. It is an illusion, I'm afraid. There is no refuge from the supraculture.
I understand everything. Make it more complicated somehow.
I can't.
Oh.
That's how simple it is. One may dye their hair green and wear their grandma's coat all they want. Capital has the ability to subsume all critiques into itself. Even those who would critique capital end up reinforcing it instead. All right. What next?
Suddenly, you're not so sure you're part of the supraculture.
I think I might be part of an infraculture.
And what would that be?
I don't know. I just feel it.
Ah, yes. That is what counts, I suppose. For my part, I was more of a new girl.
The new?
The new. A cultural era. And the name of the decade it ravished, the 30s. It came out of post-revolutionary Revachol. It was ultra-liberal. It involved lots of partying, as you might imagine, and champagne-colored everything. By the looks of it, that would have been when you came of age. Now.
Got it. Let's take it back to Reality Central for the next one.
Maximum brio, officer.
I haven't asked this one.
It's a neurological disorder caused by lack of vitamin B in the brain. Symptoms include a retrograde amnesia. It's quite serious. You should get yourself checked out.
What causes encephalopathy?
Well, it's either bariatric surgery or long-term alcohol use.
It's definitely the drinking.
She nods slowly.
This is where all the experience points are. Scam.
Glad to have been of assistance.
There you go.
Darn it. I could put a point into esprit de corps.
You could.
I'll do it. I
Alrighty.
came this far.
You can
back.
buff it with some of your
What can I help you
equipment.
with? Not an umbrella, I hope. I don't need one myself, you see.
I could use a coat like that. The rain is freezing.
Sadly, I need this one myself. It's hydrophobic, repels water, almost magically. The company makes them for offshore platform personnel. Very sturdy. What I can do for you is answer some questions. Nothing like talking to pass a rainy day.
What did you say, by the way?
You can buff your esprit de corps with some of your equipment.
That's also true. Let me check what the
More lessons
chance
in
is.
basic reality.
It's already
72.
Glad to have been of
this jacket. Oh, I can't wear both of them.
Yeah.
Just this jacket.
Yeah,
You're back.
that'll do.
Good. What can I help you with? More lessons in basic reality?
83. Let's go for it.
Should
My
be
favorite
perfectly
part?
fine.
6
There you go.
kilometers southwest in the Valley of Dogs, Junior Officer Chad Tilbrook takes aim at a rabid black dog licking its wounds in the grass. To his left, his partner, Emil Mullins, whispers, "You heard what happened to Tequila Sunset in Martinez?" "Yes, he lost his mind," Tilbrook answers, fingers on the trigger. "Don't worry, Emil." He pulls it out slowly. Slowly now. He'll find it again. We always do.
What am I?
You? You're an officer of the RCM.
The Revachol Citizens Militia.
Preciso mundo.
Good. And what is the Revachol Citizens Militia?
Nothing more nor less than the de facto law enforcement body of post-revolutionary Revachol, Detective.
You said de facto.
Yes, that means not de jure. The RCM acts in what is poetically called the twilight of international law, both at the behest of the coalition government and to its chagrin.
What do you mean?
The RCM's responsibilities are defined by the Emergency, Wayfarer and Aliments Acts, 3 pieces of legislation keeping the city in a, let's be honest, laissez-faire stasis to the benefit of foreign capital.
So I'm basically a lackey of capital?
There's nothing basic about your role, Detective. It's true that the RCM keeps everything the way our seemingly permanent provisional rulers like it. Yet, on the other hand, I know these people. I deal with them daily. Let me tell you, dear, they are not fans of you.
Why?
The post-revolutionary decade was a disaster for the coalition government. Revachol in the 20s was hell, especially on the west side of the river. Gang warfare, a botched privatization scheme, a nuclear pile meltdown. They called it the international zone because no nation wanted to claim responsibility. The RCM restored peace where the coalition failed. A true blue citizens' initiative. They will never forgive you.
I guess that's true.
So, permit me to conclude with this. Who you are to me is the police. The only legitimate law enforcement authority in Revachol.
Thank you, ma'am.
And if those authorities drink so hard they need help recalling the basic terms of reality, well, I'm here to help.
What was the RCM again?
Nothing more nor less. Yes, that means not de
That's
jure.
for the who
The
I am person.
RCM. Permit me to conclude with this. And if those authorities drink, glad to have been of assistance. The little that I... Why, yes I am.
I'm just gonna, like, click on these, I guess.
Good. What we do. The Pine, and that...
The Wild Pines Group is one of the original Revacholian Indo-tribes. Companies awarded
I'm not at lib...
$1 billion.
And to think, Warpines employ 72... They started centuries of care, deliberation... You mean aside from being the terminal's legal owners? Who are responsible for moving 8% of the world's cargo? There are no minor cogs in the system. Each terminal must be accounted for,
Now I feel
lest
like I
the
should have been
entire
reading
system
it.
break.
With your help, hopefully, says her warm tone.
There you go. You've spoken to her.
Here we go.
You may have more thoughts later.
I guess. Alright. Let's go to bed.
Or look at that mirror first.
Yep. But that's in the same place as my bed.
Yes, yes it is. Then you have a whole bunch of stuff you can work on tomorrow.
Sure can.
You've got a lot done way before you even got access to the other half of the game.
A little bit. Alright. Is the door? There we go. Alright. This is the mirror.
A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall.
What?
It's barely covered in steam anymore. It's your face in the mirror, adorned with...
I mean,
Mm.
off
I
that
guess
electrochemistry.
I can't even say that.
The bed is
Guess
still
that's the
cold
day,
from
then.
the broken window, and not too inviting, but it's yours. You've earned it. The bed is still cold from the wind blowing in from the broken window. The mattress creaks as you close your eyes and try your hardest to fall asleep.
Here we are again, my broken bud. The waves are coming, carrying you away. But you can't go. No, you have to stay. Always half aware of yourself. You're not cooperating, brother man.
Why?
It's your disgusting body. Even through your sleep, you feel a vague discomfort suffusing it. Your belly and your sides are unpleasantly tender. You wish you could curl up into a fetal ball of safety. But you cannot, because of the pain.
That pain in your right side is your enlarged liver, by the way. As for your kidneys, you've really been compounding the damage lately.
I think I need medical attention.
Oh yes, that'll check you out, give you some pills, make it all okay. The Wonder Makers.
Don't be stupid, Harry. It's not happening. They don't make new kidneys and livers in hospital. All you've got to do is pray to God it passes and stare at the flickering darkness.
You're just stuck here, in the half-world. Could try looking at other people, really looking. But why would you want to start doing that?
I will. I'm looking at people all the time. I like them.
Sure you do. They're all so friendly, aren't they?
At least they're interesting. Each one has a process just like yours, running in the space between their ears, full of secrets. People are beautiful, statuesque, parodies and tragedies of themselves. A great democracy of creatures.
What do you think you're doing right now? Coming to some greater awareness? Look at all these lights, blinking in and out of existence. Thoughts! You're just pretending that you're asleep, even to yourself, while the world goes on without you.
Let it. Let it.
But it never seems to let you go, does it? Time to rise and wipe that shining sweat off as best you can. Gather your bearings. Rock and roll.
Put on your prettiest face for the masses.